guys, Samantha from Jessama Tutorials here, and today I'll be showing you how to make translucent silver leaf Mokume Gane. So what you're going to need is some sort of translucent clay. I've chosen Cernit Translucent today. You can use Primo, Kato, Fimo or Pardo for this. Any translucent will work, but I'm going to be using Cernit today. So I've rolled these out on the thickest setting of my pasta machine, and now I'm going to put alcohol inks on them. So I've got Adirondack Indigo and Turquoise. So I'm going to pop a little bit of the indigo on here. You want quite a strong colour. Okay. And then I'll pop some of the turquoise on here. Okay, and then I'll just smear that over the surface. And dry that off, and then smear this one. And this will help it dry faster because we don't want to mix this into the clay until it is fully dry. So smearing it over the surface will help it dry faster. But now you need to wait for around 5 to 10 minutes for that to dry, depending on how hot your room is. Okay, so they're dried. They're not going to be completely dry, they're going to be slightly tacky to the touch, but that's just fine. Just make sure that they're not sopping wet, because otherwise you'll mix air bubbles into your clay. So I like to do this by hand, because if you put this through a pasta machine, you'd get alcohol ink all over your pasta machine. So we want to press that in, and it's going to make your hands messy, so if you don't want your hands messy you can wear gloves at this point, but I don't mind too much. And I'll just try to get rid of that alcohol ink there, and I'll just bring over a wet wipe. There we are. Now this only really works with alcohol inks because the alcohol inks are translucent to a certain degree. This won't really work for mica powders because you need to be able to see through the translucent clay once it is baked, so you can't really do this with mica powders or paint. It needs to be alcohol inks. So just wanted to say that. So you can see that after a little bit of mixing we're already getting a really strong colour, which is great. So now that I've mixed it in to a certain degree and it's not going to be leaving marks all over the place, you can bring it over to your pasta machine and start rolling it out. And so I'll just do that a few times, and that will mix it in so that we have a nice solid colour, just like that. And I'll do the exact same for this one. Okay, so now that they're all finished, I'm going to bring over the silver leaf, which is the next step. And our silver leaf looks like this. Now before we put this on, we need to lengthen these out. So this is on my thickest setting. I'm now going to take it down to my third thinnest setting and roll it through. Just like that. And I'll do the same for this one. Again, lengthening it out. Okay, and I've got a little bit of hijackers over here. I'm just going to trim that off. There we go. Then we want to stack these on top of each other. And don't worry about having to be neat. It doesn't really matter if they're not the exact same size. It's nice to try and get them the same shape so that you can get them stacked up together, but don't worry if there's a little lip here and there. Okay, so now what we want to do, just want to flip that, bring over our silver leaf, and now before you use silver leaf, make sure that your doors and windows and fans are closed and switched off, and just try not to sneeze or blow or cause anything that would make this stuff blow around all over the place, because it blows around like you would not believe. So here it is, and you can see that it's light as a feather and it practically weighs nothing. So you have to be careful when using it. So you'll just touch it down onto your clay and then smooth it over. Okay, and then I'll just take these little excess pieces and just stick them into spots that I missed. So you can see it sticks all over the place. It can be a little painful to use if you don't like things blowing around all over the place. There we go. You just want to cover up all the areas. Okay. And then just smooth around the edges. And this will help get rid of that excess leaf. There you go. It kind of smooths it out the way. Okay, and so all those little bits I'm just going to scoop up and pop back into my little booklet where I keep them. And I'm going to lift this up and out of the way. And you can see that some of this is stuck to our tile, so just bring over your blade and pick them up. And there we are. Okay. So now what we'll do is we'll just get rid of any little bits left over, and then I'll bring it over to my pasta machine, and I'm going to run this through on my third thinness setting again, and again I'm going to be lengthening. Just like that. Now that's all you want to do. Now what we're going to do is we're going to cut it in half, and we're going to stack it like you would any Mokume Gane. And don't worry about getting that exact either. The only thing that you need to make sure is that your one colour is always facing up. So the silver leaf always needs to be facing towards me. Other than that, don't worry about anything else, just stack it. And the more times you stack, the more layers you're going to get. Okay, so that's what it's looking like at the moment. Okay. And now I'm just going to smush this all together. Into one stack, and then I'm going to flatten it out. Just like that. Now bring over my acrylic roller and just roll it out a tad. And this is to just get all those layers all squished together. And there we are. Now what we're going to do is we're going to bring over our blade, and this is a flexible blade. We're going to dip into it. And actually I want to do it the other way around. There we are. And now depending on how thin your layers are, you're going to get different effects, and depending on how much you crackled your silver leaf, that's also going to give you some different effects. There we are. So you can see the silver leaf through the pieces already, but they need to be baked before you can actually see what they're going to look like. So I'll just carry on slicing through the stack until I can't get any more slices out. And I'll try not to go through the stack because I've done that before. There we go. Lift that up. Now slice from this side too. And there we go. So there's the pieces that we got out of it. You could probably get a few more pieces out if you tried, like that. But that's pretty nice. And then you'll pop these together into a sheet by just overlapping these pieces like this. And this will form your sheet. And now I'm going to bake a piece for you guys to see what it's going to look like, and I'll also bring over some examples of what I've done using this technique because I've used it quite a bit. But I'll first show you what to do with these. So just pop them together in random fashion, it looks really nice. Here we go. Then I'll bring over my acrylic roller again, and I'll just roll it flat. And there we go, that's what it looks like. So I'll cut out a piece, pop that in the oven for about half an hour to bake to show you what this is going to look like, and then I'll bring over some examples. Okay, so I've baked a chip and you can see that there is a massive colour shift. Depending on what clay you use, there'll be a larger colour shift. So with the Cernit, it's quite opaque before it is baked, and so it will make your colours appear whiter than they actually are. So depending on what brand of translucent you're using, the colour shift will vary. But this is pretty nice. And also, I'm not sure if you're able to see that, but it is quite translucent, so I don't think you can see that. Now, you'd want to sand and buff this and put resin on it to get it to its full capacity, to its best. But you can see basically what it looks like at the moment. You can see that a lot of that silver leaf has come through, and it looks really nice. And because the alcohol inks are translucent, you can see a lot of layers in there. I don't think the camera can pick it up as well as I would like it to pick up, but there is a lot of depth of layers in here. So I'll bring over some examples of some pieces that I've made. So here are some from a previous tutorial I made. And this is my watercolour and translucent silver leaf Mokume Gane pendants, and I have done a tutorial on them already, so I'll provide a link to that in the links below. And this is the part where you have the translucent silver leaf Mokume Gane. I also did it with some reds, so you can see this part is the Mokume Gane. I'll just brighten this up so you can see what's going on. Okay. And then the ones that I'm really happy with are these ones. And this was done with almost the exact same colour scheme as we did over here, except that I used a little less alcohol ink, and it's been sanded, buffed, and had resin on it. And doing that really clears it up, and it just brings it to its full beauty. So you can see there's a massive difference between this and this. So if I move this around, hopefully you can see that it gleams and there's a lot of depth in there, and so it's a really cool effect. So if you're going to use this technique, you need to make sure that you sand and buff it just to make sure that it gets to its full beauty. So I do hope that that tutorial was helpful to you, and if it was, please do let me know, as that is always helpful to me. And please do look at the links below, as there'll be a link to my website, jessamatutorials.com, down there, where you can send in pictures of what you've made using this tutorial and other tutorials as well. There are articles and places to send in pictures, and there's also early access to all of my YouTube tutorials, so be sure to check that out. And as always, I'll see you in the next tutorial. Bye for now!